Hey guys, Dr. T here. I thought I'd put together a short video. The first part of it is doing charge conversions from electrons to coulombs and coulombs to electrons, including how to put it into a calculator. And the second part involves how to use the current equation to solve for missing quantities, which is the first problem on your homework. So enjoy. So let's start out with a review of what it is that we know from before. So what is current? Well, current's the amount of charge per time, like counting cars. So for example, 5 coulombs of charge passing me in 20 seconds, how much current is it? Well, just follow the equation. It's just going to be the 5 coulombs divided by the 20 seconds. So you get 0.25 coulombs per second if you just do the division. And then remember that we've defined the coulomb per second in this handy new unit called the amp. Next thing, what is a coulomb? Well, a coulomb is just this unit of charge, and it's related to the charge of an electron. An electron is a tiny fraction of a coulomb. So, for example, if we had, say, 14 electrons, how many coulombs would that be? So I'm going to do an example for you here. So you got to write down that 14 electrons, and then what's the next step? What is it? What do we do? Do you remember how to start it? That's right, empty fraction. And then we have to decide where the electrons will go to cancel those electrons on top. So you put them on bottom, and coulombs go on top. And then we know from the above that the 1.6 number goes to the coulombs and 1 electron. So in your calculator, it's 14 times 1.6 negative. And then E is power of 10 to the 19 negative. This style of calculator, you have to put negative afterwards instead of before, just this style of calculator. So you get your answer, 2.24, and then the E means times 10 to the power negative 18, a tiny, tiny fraction of a coulomb. What about going the other way, converting 2.2 coulombs to electrons? What's the first step? That's right, empty fraction. Then what goes where? You got to put the coulombs on bottom to cancel the coulombs on top, and that'll give you electrons on the top. And so now we know we're dividing. So you take that 2.2 divided by 1.6 negative times 10 to the power negative 19. And you get this answer of negative 1.4 times 10 to the plus 18 electrons. So a huge, huge number of electrons in order to get 2.2 coulombs of charge. So your homework. Your homework involves, if you know how much current you've got and how much time you've got, how much charge is that? So a lot of students will ask me, Dr. T, do I multiply the numbers? Do I divide the numbers? What do I do? And what I say to that is, that's like asking me, when you put brownies in the oven, do you put them in at 400 degrees or 450? There's no rule for what you do every time. You have to follow the recipe. The recipe in physics is called the equation. So don't just mash the numbers together, use the equation. So we know I, we know we want Q, we know T, so we use the equation. I equals Q over T. I is 2. What's Q? That's right, Q is we don't know it. We leave it blank. So we go through, solve it for Q. You get 2 amps times seconds. Amps is coulombs per second, so the seconds cancel out, and you get that you would have 2 coulombs of charge passing you in a second. Part B, we just want to change it from coulombs to electrons. How many electrons is this? So there's your 2 coulombs, there's your conversion factor, and to make the coulombs cancel out, we can see that we've actually got to be dividing by that factor. So you take the 2 coulombs, you divide by the 1.6, and it's actually not a negative before, you got to put the negative in after. 1.6 negative, just this style calculator. The E means the power of 10, 19, and then again, make it negative. And you get to an answer of negative 1.25 times 10 to the power plus 19, which again is a huge, huge number of electrons because it takes a huge number of electrons. So hopefully that's helpful. Enjoy your homework.